Hello, and welcome to the Libri Labra Book Club. My name is Desiree. You're on my channel. I'm joined by my husband, John, aka BookTube Hubby, and also Book Club VIP member, Tom. And before we kind of jump into things, just want to let you know that if you ever want to join us on camera, you can do that by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/LibriLabra. There's a few other perks like being in a Facebook group chat where we talk about some of the media we're consuming, and you get to be in a rotation where you get to pick the book that we're reading throughout the year. And sometimes behind the scenes stuff. You get a custom bookmark. But today we are talking about We Are Not From Here by Jenny Torres Sanchez. This month is Latinx Heritage Month. That starts on September 15th through October 15th. But before we jump into spoilers, initial thoughts.
From the cover, I had assumed what I was getting into, so it did not disappoint. But I was happy. I get a new story. Gimme. That's pretty much how I feel nowadays. It's something a little different, but that we'll talk about the rest later.
Tom?
Yeah, it's roughly the same. You can get an idea of what the book is about from its cover, and it seemed that was very timely. So I figured that we should read it.
As far as I know, because this was my book pick, as far as I know, this is a YA book. And not that I was necessarily surprised by the content, but I was reading the discussion questions, and the discussion questions felt I don't even know how to describe the discussion questions. Just very, very thought provoking. Like as an adult, it just felt very thought provoking. So I would be interested to see what a classroom of young adults reading a book like this and discussing it using the same discussion questions would look like. Maybe I have just gotten used to the dumbed down of Americans, which is also possible. But the discussion questions felt pretty intense, and I think that the story, considering it is an immigration story, was also fairly intense.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess to kind of jump into spoiler territory, again, if you haven't read it yet, definitely a book worth checking out. I did not know that the author lives in Orlando, so that's kind of interesting. But maybe that's how I ended up with the book. Maybe I saw her at like the library or something. But I don't like. Did you listen to it, Tom? Did you listen to it? Okay, yeah, so did we. And I, just to kind of use that as a starting off point, I struggled a little bit with recognizing whose perspective we were. Yeah, because not that the narrator was bad, but she didn't do. It didn't seem like she tried much to distinguish between the voices. It just kind of felt like
she was more of a narrator than an actor, is the way I would put it.
Okay, I can see that. That seems fair. Right, so the story was just being narrated, and there was just no distinguishing between the two. Like I feel like I had to listen really hard to like, was there a mention of a baby? Was there like,
yeah, or just go back to the chapter head. It's like, oh, okay, it's Pequeñas, or oh, okay, it's
There were
the guy's name.
very slight like hints towards things that were happening in previous sentences or paragraphs that just gave a hint towards what was going on, and until Pequeña was actually able to tell everybody, or even the narrator, what's going on, the reader. So
and this is like petty and dumb, but like I wish the chapters had been numbered so I would have been able to like I don't know, because sometimes I'd put the book down and I was still listening, and it would just be hard to get back into the book to find where the place was when all the chapters are either pequeña or.
I could at least see in the audio that the chapters were labeled who it was narrating for.
Right, and it's
They would say pequeña or
right, and it's the same.
Yeah, but you couldn't.
book, but
if you were in a book club, you're in. Well, okay, go to chapter 12.
Oh yeah, go to chapter
I
Polga.
thought they just getting at.
Go to chapter Polga, which is
Like,
1 of 13.
Yeah,
I get it. All right.
So it made it hard to reference specific spots again, because I was kind of listening and reading. It would just take me a while to be like, I would have to either listen for the first words of the chapter or the last words of the chapter to then be able to like find my place again.
Or just know, or just, if they're having a conversation, just happen to notice who's in the third person. Is it Pequeña or is it Polga? Oh, okay, so it must be the other one's chapter.
And we are like following 3 characters. So we are following Pequeña, Pulga, and Chico. But Chico doesn't get his own perspective, which is kind of interesting. I'm wondering why the author made that choice to not. Well,
probably because of
what happened.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was pretty.
You're getting the story from their perspective, not Chico's.
Right.
Because Chico's not telling the story after the fact.
Right. I'm just thinking about other stories where there was multiple perspectives and multiple characters, and like, unfortunately, the one that comes to mind is Unwind.
What was the one where some dude jumped off a bridge and landed on another person? Is that something you were listening to?
Yes.
Wasn't that told by multiple perspectives? But was that a romance? Is that what?
I don't know if that was a romance. I would have to like go digging to find the title and the author of that book. I know what book you're talking about, but yeah, I would have to go looking for that. But
irrelevant now. Never mind.
So let's see some of these discussion questions.
Well, before you get to those, one of the things I thought, like before you get to the story, it's like, looking at the cover, it's like, oh damn, did they just give you how it ended in the cover? Because it sure as hell seemed like it was going that way. Like there's only one character shown in full color, the rest they just have their backs to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it actually looks like you're looking at Pequeña looking back, and
yes.
Chico and
yes. But they're not colored in. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, is this predicting what happens to them? Because at a certain point in the story, that's what I thought.
So wait, does Polka not make it?
He does, but there's a point in the story where it doesn't seem like he will.
Oh,
and that's what I thought. Yeah,
he gives up mentally. Like he
yes, yeah, he gets caught by the border patrol, and they leave Pequeña, and Pequeña's like, oh, she happens to get picked up by this woman. Surprise, surprise.
Dude, there's so many sad things here. Oh my god. Talk about Chico when we're ready to talk about Chico.
So the first question is like super involved and involves like researching the term adverse childhood experience. So I'm going to skip that one. But the second question says, while all 3 main characters struggled with harsh conditions growing up in Puerto Barrios, as a girl, Pequeña faced a particular set of challenges, and those challenges continue for her on the journey north as well. What has she had to deal with that the boys have not, and how does that affect her?
Well, she's actually having to hide as a boy because if men find her, they do worse things to girls than.
Mm-hmm. Like with the border patrol agent.
Yeah.
He got all handsy with her. And that's what got her in trouble in the first place, because she was a woman and happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. She happened to look in a certain way, and boom.
it's, I mean, these are like real stories, right? So like, it's just kind of horrifying. Um, Especially like, did you guys read the author's note? It was in the narration. So,
Maybe
I believe
after
so.
that.
because the author had just been talking about like how difficult of a story that this was to write for her, but she also mentions like all of the challenges that immigrants go through in their own country, right?
Right.
And then making the journey from their own country to
What
the
they're
United
running
States,
from is worth the risk they're taking.
right? But again, even that journey ends up being ridiculously challenging and often traumatizing, and then they get here and then they're dealt
not welcomed.
with
Yeah.
like with all this so it's just really rough. I don't I don't want this to sound like a judgment, but I was kind of surprised at Pequeña's storyline, and I guess I didn't expect her to leave the baby behind. I mean, I understand like her feelings about it and what happened and why she did, but I guess I wasn't expecting her to just leave the way she did. I think even at the end, like she just had so much that she was carrying that like she almost didn't even want to tell anyone that she was safe.
No, because if she told her parents where she was at, there's a possibility Ray could find out.
Yep.
So
it's so scary and just so much to carry. I don't know if they identified like the characters' ages in this.
they were like 16, 17 area.
Yeah, I think that's right.
13, 15, 17-ish. I don't know. Somewhere around there. Like Chico was supposed to be the youngest, right?
Was he?
I don't know. Either way, they grew up like brothers, so.
Yes. Because Chico defended him against Ray. That's how all that started. Sorry, against Nestor. And then eventually Ray's younger brother.
There was a scene, and I was trying to ask John about it, but John said he didn't remember it, where I was feeling lost in the perspectives, where I guess Ray grabs two people, one of them being Chico, and tries to get Chico to like punch the other one.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? Was the other one Pulga?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because in that moment, for whatever reason, I was imagining Pequeña, and it wasn't until later that I was like, wait, who?
Yeah, that was to prove that Chico would do what Pulga would tell him to do without question.
Right. And then Pulga just like pushed his buttons however necessary.
Yeah, because he knew how to do it. And then, he beat him up, and when he gets home, I forget what the accident was, but it's like another fight. They didn't say exactly that, but yeah.
It's just, I don't know, so much difficult stuff, and seeing that store owner get shot, I guess, had to be really traumatizing for all of them, and then to still have like the perpetrators like just.
I thought they cut his throat.
Yeah.
It's maybe worse, but yeah.
But just seeing that and watching that and being a witness to that, and then knowing that the people who did it were still just.
I had to reread that because it wasn't clear to me if they actually saw what had happened, and I don't think they did. They heard it.
Yeah.
But they knew who it was.
Yeah, they heard him, and they knew like they could hear what was going on. But they were in the back room. They thought that Ray and such didn't know that they were back there. but he had somebody following him into the store, so he knew that they were there. So, yeah, because they were stacking the soda pallets on the back.
The fact that you have to watch something like that or be around something when that happens and then know that you can't say a thing because you're in danger in either way. Like you can't go to the police, can't go to nobody because it's somebody's gonna find you. And that's quite a fear.
It says, in what way does Burgas serve as a protector for Chico, and how does this role force him to mature or grow up sooner than a child should have to? I mean, you kind of like, I mean, I feel like I can relate to that being the oldest of 6. Like, I just ended up having to take care of all of my siblings and make sure that we all went to school and we all got dressed and we all got fed, and like, that does kind of make you mature faster than a child who would have no worries and could just be home thinking about little kid things.
Yeah, in a way, it's sort of like the relationship between George and Lenny, if you've ever read Of Mice and Men. Same idea. Like, in this case, Polga's like the smart one who decides what they're going to do, and he just tells, Chico what to do and how to do it.
I have never in my life realized that reference until now, that all of those cartoons that reference Lenny is referencing Of Mice
George,
and Men.
Yes. And
I would love him and squeeze him and pat him and
call him George.
And call him George. You don't remember that?
I mean,
I don't know. That's the old cartoons,
all those
man.
Cartoons, I don't know what.
Holy crap. Okay. All right.
I have not read Of Mice and Men. Did
I
you have to
haven't
read it
either.
in school? Oh, okay.
Maybe I
really,
think I
really
did
should.
actually a long time ago. I don't remember anything
It's
about
like
it.
100 pages.
Yeah, it's really.
Maybe. But it's you would know if you had, because it has one of the most memorable scenes in all of literature, in my opinion. Like, you cannot forget this scene, and I can't say what it is.
I haven't read it.
Now I'm gonna have to go see it.
But
And I'm probably
I feel like I don't know if I'm just making assumptions or I heard somebody else tell me. I feel like I might know.
Okay.
But if it's that short, I'm sure.
Yes, 100 pages.
The audio.
Oh yeah. We can kill
Yes,
that.
I have the audiobook. It's quite good. In fact, I just reread it fairly recently. So.
Toward the end of part 1, Burga says, I guess sometimes lying to those we love is the only way to keep them from falling apart. What do you think he means by that? And are there any experiences in your own life that you might connect to that sentiment?
Jesus, these are freaking deep.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that knowing you have a realist or an idealist, I don't know, not an idealist, but the realist perspective on someone who's very optimistic about something, and you really don't want to crush their heart. That's understandable. But I'm sure there's further down the scale we can go on that.
I understand, but I struggle with the idea of lying to people, even if it's to comfort them.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So I find that to be like really challenging. I don't know. I mean, mostly because growing up in my family, anytime anyone was like sick and in the hospital, where it might be like end of life kind of thing, they were never told that. They were like, things would be kept from them and hidden from them, and like I remember as a child just being like, how could you
right
because I feel like I would want to know. I would want to know the truth. I wouldn't want to be lied to. But
There's a podcast episode that has since become a movie, and I won't say exactly what it's here, but it involves a family basically. I think it's deceiving their grandmother by getting everybody together for a wedding, but it's actually like she's has a terminal illness. I think I have to, yeah, I have to look it up because I just really remember it. But yeah, but
I don't know. I was wondering, like, I don't know. For some reason, I thought of family lore
oh, okay.
a little bit, only just because, like, it wasn't deceitful like that, but wasn't she like throwing herself?
Oh, the
In the
party.
flight soiree, a
Yeah,
soiree
yeah.
Yeah. Well, in that case,
without telling
she had the gift of sight. So yeah, that would make sense. But but this is a little different in the sense that the person who has it doesn't know. And oh yeah, we're having a wedding. And so I wish I could remember the name of the podcast. Or the
That's
movie.
insane. That sucks. That's a crazy. Holy crap! That the entire family knows that she's ill.
Yes. 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 I think that's the premise.
That's kind of on that what you just said, basically.
Yeah, it's
that's
so
ridiculous.
like I hated everything about it, and then of course because
Sorry, Grandma.
then because I would come to visit the person, and then I would be asked to lie too.
Right,
Don't tell her what you
yeah.
know, and it's just like, ugh,
No,
why are
I
you
can't
putting me
not.
in this horrible position? Like at that point, shit, lie to me too. Don't fucking tell me anything. But
It's called The Farewell, the movie.
mm,
So no, but I remember this specifically from the Arrowverse because like I mean it's a good trope, but they used it to death to the point that it's like, oh come on, because everybody knows that the person who they lied to is eventually to come back and
gonna
hate them
find
for
out.
lying to her. Yeah, and it just got repetitive. It's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, keeping a little bit of information that could really
Exactly. Yes.
solve everything
Right.
that's happening in the
Yes.
episode. Yeah.
Yes. Well, then we wouldn't have an episode.
Then we would have to. Yeah. Right. Then that
maybe we
miscommunication
need
won't
better
cause
writers.
trauma, and then the trauma doesn't happen and make somebody angry and emotional.
Right. But when it's big questions like that, you do have to ask yourself, okay, what is the cost or the benefit of them knowing? Can they do anything about it? No. Will they worry about it? Yes.
I can't tell them because I'll lose them.
Yeah, we're gonna lose them anyway. But
yeah,
what it's about them, like what their feelings are. It's like, well, would they rather know? I don't know. Obviously, intellectually, the best thing to do is to tell them. Because that way everybody's out in the open, and you know what you're dealing with. But I could certainly see a case where maybe not. Because if that became your life, then like your disease becomes your life, that's a totally different story.
What dreams does Pulga have about life in the U.S. and how do those dreams evolve over time?
I do recall him thinking of what it would be like when he got there at certain times, but I don't remember those experiences in the book.
I think more of their experiences would be freedom from rather than freedom to. Like they'd be free of the Guatemalan gangs and that sort of thing, and they'd be free of that environment. But then the second question is, well, what are they free to do now? And that's harder to parse out.
At least they had somebody in the States to run to.
Yes,
that's the thing. A lot of people don't even have that. They're just coming.
A part of me fully expected. Okay, we're in the States, and oh look, here's Ray again.
Oh God.
It's possible. It's not without the realm of possibility.
That's next book.
Yeah.
No. This is quite a harrowing journey, man. Like,
yeah,
they went through a lot. And honestly, I think they actually seem to, in the book, seem to have gotten very lucky in many
Yes.
aspects because I think that a lot of people deal with a lot worse.
Hmm.
Um, um, and just like it's just so much like to take on that journey with
Hmm.
like two of your closest friends or siblings or whatever, and then I don't know, I probably should have went back and read what happened to Chico because I think I have like an understanding of it, but maybe not as clear as I would like because it sounded like it was just what they were just tired and like
So from the first time when they jumped off the train, he had a concussion.
mm,
Yes.
So when they stayed with Soledad in that place, and this is kind of the sad part, and what I thought the worst about it is the fact that they stayed with Soledad so he can heal and recover, and then they're like, okay, it's time to go, and he was like, no, I want to stay here, and they didn't, and he died directly after that. But he needed to rest more. He needed to not be
Yeah.
moving. After they went on like two or three more trains, he was just basically just a zombie, and he just blacked out, fell out, something.
Yeah.
He just fell off the railing and fell over, and did one of his feet get cut off or one
I
or
mean
something like that. I think
it
they
sound
said
like
that something happened, like when he
his
hit the like when they found him, he was
his
one of
leg
his
was all exposed.
something was
Yeah. I don't
bleeding
know.
out. So yeah, but he begged
Yeah.
to stay. He begged to stay, and they
Yeah.
didn't let.
And Polga was like, "No, we got to go. We got to catch the very next train."
So that was part of Polga's
Guilt.
growth as well, is
Yeah.
having to deal with the fact that he pushed his best friend or brother so hard that
Hmm.
he couldn't make it. Pushed him too hard.
I mean, strictly from a narrative point of view, we already had two scenes where Chico's trying to catch up with the train. And it's like, well, how many more scenes of this are we going to, can she possibly have? Because you use it anymore, then that becomes almost again like a meme. It's like, oh come on, oh look, here's Chico trying to catch the train again, sort of. And that wasn't happening, so she had to resolve it somehow. Like, I mean, that's the way she did it. And the fact that Chico doesn't get any chapters devoted to his point of view kind of brings that out. It's like, yeah, we know from the start you're cannon fodder, essentially. And, from a narrative point of view, not from a human point of view.
Um, I mean, there has to be a ton of people that sadly die trying to make that journey with minimal food, minimal water, like
I would say
minimal
without
sleep,
even
everything.
having the train be an issue. Like if they can, if they're running themselves ragged, their dehydration, sunstroke,
Mm-hmm.
stroke, like whatever could actually just they could literally just lay down and die. That's it. It's just exhaustion, infected blisters on their feet, like
Mm-hmm.
so many things, so many small things that we actually do take for granted nowadays because when we get a blister, we get a Band-Aid and antiseptic and we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They don't have that.
I thought this question was kind of interesting. It says Pequeña's character has many instances where she connects with her spirituality, and often these moments involve a supernatural element. Why do you think that the author chose to depict her spirituality in that way, and what messages do you take from that part of Pequeña's narrative?
I actually really enjoyed whenever they started walking into Pequeña's mind and what she's seeing, what's going on, and I think that's a visual, like I say, a narrative way to express what she's feeling at that moment. Like like a deeper way to express what she's feeling with the ghosts around her, with the feeling of oh my, so many people have gone through this, so many people have died going through this. It brings out more, and I really want to see a visual media perspective on how they would do that with Pequeña's slip from reality into the supernatural. When she's watching all of the things happen, like I want a little more information on the spiders bit.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That's what I want more info on, but
I wasn't sure what that was about, because in that moment I was like, wait, is
what's happening right
yeah
now?
like what yeah,
what-
exactly.
It's like all super realistic right up until then. It's like, well, now is it magical realism?
Yeah,
That's fine, but
You can get superpowers instead of
Yeah.
just not supernatural. I don't know.
unless the writer wrote herself into a corner and didn't know how to get out. Okay, spiders. I don't know.
I mean, I would think also with all of the things that they were experiencing, like, why couldn't hallucination be like a part of that?
Like psychosis?
If they're not.
Well, I thought they were, because
That's part of exhaustion.
Mirages and stuff.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, being in the high desert like that, I'm guessing that's where it really came into play. And it's like, well, are you actually seeing these things, you're bruja, or are you just imagining them? Who can say?
Both.
Both.
It says the main characters are Guatemalan and they have a complicated relationship with surrounding countries. At one point in the story, Burga notes, "We are to Mexico what Mexico is to the States." What do you think he means by this statement? And what is your understanding of the relationship between Mexico and the US? And why don't some people want Mexicans to enter the US? This is like, I mean, I want to look at when this was published, because
Or when it was written, maybe, too.
I hate the idea that we actually classify people as third-class citizens.
okay, so yeah, this is this says it was printed in 2020. It says copyright 2020.
So it's before COVID, huh?
No, wasn't COVID 2019?
Like right at the end of it.
Right
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Mainly 2020, but yeah, it starts in 2019. December.
Yeah. Wait.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Then,
Okay.
then
Well, then it was like
March 2020 was
2020
it.
was like when
When everything started,
Okay.
shutting down.
March
Yeah.
2020 was when everything shut down.
I think it's kind of hard to talk about, because I feel like for me anyway, like my involvement in politics hasn't always been the same, and the awareness of what has been going on behind the scenes has not been the same. So, like, I think it's just a really complicated question. I mean, I understand that what he's saying is that, like, if we just look around at what's happening right now, with all the super scary immigration stuff that's happening right now, clearly there is a certain amount of Americans in power, but also American voters who have been convinced that immigrants are a problem.
This entire country is founded on nothing but immigrants. Every step of the way. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But I guess if the United States is like immigrants are coming from Mexico and they're trying to block that or cut that off, then Mexico is trying to do the same thing to Guatemalans on the other side, I guess.
Yeah, because they're being pressured by the United States to do that. And plus, when the Guatemalans enter Mexico, now it becomes Mexico's problem to feed them and not necessarily take care of them, but it's their resources that the immigrants need. Much like when the immigrants cross over the United States, now it's the United States that has to provide. So, good, better, and different.
At times, La Bestia is personified. Why do you think the author made that choice, and how does the train represent both safety and danger for the teens? What is their psychological relationship to it?
Talk about the train?
Yes.
So, the beast?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it eats people.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because it's a sign of security and safety when you're on it, but trying to get on it actually is dangerous. So it's a double-edged sword, really.
Right.
Get on it, get off it.
Don't touch its face or its claws, but get on its back.
Yeah, well, like the striker would, but yeah. You can anthropomorphize it. It has a screen. It's powerful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It moves at a good. You can assign all these things, and it's like, oh yeah. I think it makes it easier to comprehend an opponent like that than just a machine.
Well, it gives it more of a consciousness. It gives it, It gives it, instead of it being a vessel, it literally gives it a soul or something to fear, to respect.
And more benignly, when sailors talk about the ship being her, and they have the masthead and everything else, it's more of a living being to them, so it makes it easier to relate to it. It's like, the wind's doing this, and she's not handling well today because of this, that, and the other. So, same thing with La Bestia. Not that they have any control over it, but
What is Burga's relationship with his father? How does music connect them, and how do his memories of his father connect to his desire to risk everything to travel to the U.S.?
I think I would say that, like I said before, it changes from freedom to pursue his dream of being a musician, just like his dad. But then it kind of changes to freedom from when he gets on Ray and Nestor's hit list. And so that's the overriding consideration. We have to get away from them.
I mean, but Burga didn't actually know his dad, right? Because his dad died before he even knew that his mom was pregnant.
Was it something like that? Yeah, he just listened to his music growing up.
Yeah, because he would listen to the mixtapes that the dad made for the mom. So he knew snippets of his voice, I imagine, and whatever music his dad happened to like, or music that his dad thought his mom would like. That's what it is.
I mean, and if he's like listening to that over and over again, that recording was just like his dad doing something out of love, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all you have of him. That's all you're gonna think about.
Yeah, so that's like, I don't know, happy thoughts, happy feelings, maybe. believing that the U.S. could also be a happy place.
Mm-hmm. And I was hopeful for a future, because when his dad would be on there, would be like, oh, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that for you, because they hadn't been married yet, because they're still courting. Obviously, hence the new mixtape. So.
I don't know. I really liked that chapter where he was like listening to the recording and talking about his dad. I don't know. I guess there's just so much darkness everywhere else in the entire story, like things they were running from and dealing with. And I guess it was a nice kind of reprieve, a moment to reflect on, even though it was kind of also surrounded by grief. Like,
right.
I think he actually said something about not listening to his dad unless he's on the train. Was that a thing? Was that part of it? Is it that he, in the worst of it, he didn't want to listen to his dad, but when he was nice and safe and secure, that's when he actually listened. Felt it was safe to listen to his dad's stuff.
Or it could have been when, like, just the Jan Outlaw Bestia, and okay, I have this now, and we'll insulate ourselves, and possibly even after Chico's death to comfort him.
how do the people writing La Bestia care for and support one another? What does Burga notice about the things all the travelers have in common, and what sets him and his friends apart? What do you notice about the relationship between compassion and competition for survival happening within Burga's character?
I think that's one of the things that she did really well, in the sense that it's when it's you needing help. Oh, please, 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 you have to help us. But then, if you're not needing help and you're the one being asked, like, nope, we can't possibly do it. And just having it so absolute. Because the one family, they begged to go with them, and they actually did take them along for a bit, but not the whole way. And then I forget, the situation was reversed where people were asking them, and it's like, no, we can't possibly.
Well, it seems like because most of the times they're asking men, and men are shutting everything down, and the women are all like, hey, I do what I can, but I'm sorry, I can't help you. But the men are usually the ones that are pushing everything back. So that's also a look at empathy as well. But they all have really their own story to have. They all have their own journey, and they are all in the same survival mode. And you can't really take care of somebody else if you're really worried about yourself.
Yes.
So them traveling in three together was probably doesn't happen that often. It's usually one or two, or families, because they're all trying to run together.
Right. And Chico wasn't technically family, but he was. And I think that Polga and Pequeña are cousins.
But Polga had somebody to care for, and Pequeña, knew they all had to be together. I mean, Polga seemed to be the only person that was trying to get more people to, actually get together and be more of a group. But even though, but Chico had the naive, I'll tell everybody what's going on. So that's kind of hard. That's a hard situation to be in.
Yep.
You don't know who you could trust.
Right.
Yes. And I think it was only the one guy at the one town where he sicked his dog on Polga, and give me money for, I forget what it was. And he was asking for a really exorbitant price for it too. That was when I think the nun stopped it. I can't remember what they were asking for. Maybe a room for the night. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, and he was like, it's a like, I don't know what, 120, 280, I don't know. It was a number, and then And then they're okay. Oh, 40. It was 40 because someone told them previously going in that it's 40 pesos. And she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's all I have is 40." And they're like, "I know you have more than 40. You don't come in here with just 40. Nobody
Right.
does. Nobody knows."
It means 40 each, and then it
Yeah,
just got out of hand from
yeah.
there.
So, and then he, yeah, he escalated it as every
Yeah.
time. So he was a haggler too.
Yeah. But it also shows how like necessary all the hostels and shelters were on their trip, and how people out of the goodness of their hearts, set those up. And a lot of them are religious, connected to religious, which is fine. But yeah, the people like they would die without that help. They would never make it as far as they did.
Where was Pequeña picked up?
In the desert.
And she had just kind of passed out and someone found her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, was that after leaving Polga because he had what's called given up?
Yeah, she. I think she walked off, and
the group wandered off without them, and then she was like, "No, no, 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 I don't know what to do," and then left him to go find the group, and then
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then somewhere after that, the border patrol agent got the both of them, and I forget what the order of operations was, but he took Polga, and Pequeña, struck out further across the desert, where she got picked up by that woman by the highway. Yeah.
Do we know what the time frame was between like when they left Guatemala and when they kind of got to the United States? Because she got picked up by Martha, and Martha was like telling her what her selfish reasons for picking her up were, and she made it sound like, I think it was her sister's daughter, right? She said her sister's daughter tried to make the trip and didn't make it. She made it sound like that was a really long time ago, but for Pequeña to have met Soledad.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering what that
and then to have the connections to line up contact between, I guess, Polga and Pequeña, and then their their parents back in Guatemala. I've seen. I don't know. I can't say it was far fetched, but it was like, well, that's sort of convenient, but
a lot of books do that.
Yes, I know. yeah. It makes an easier end to the story. I get that.
The last question says, how does the reality of the character's journey compare to their expectations for it ahead of time? What do you think accounts for those differences?
Experience. And they say it multiple times throughout the book, and they actually try to pound it into them. How many times is I've done this 4 times. You lost this person, and then I had to do this multiple times. So he's angry about having to worry about other people because he's already been through it. He doesn't want to do it again and again and again. But yeah, it's a lot.
It's the difference between knowing. It's the difference between looking at a map and knowing the map, and actually being there and knowing what's actually on the ground.
Polga tried to actually get prepared, and he only got about half the way.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately the best you can do. You never know until you're actually in the situation, and things go wrong in ways you never envisioned. And you just have to get around that somehow.
I think that's like the scariest thing about it. You're like, they're running from something and trying to prepare as best that they can, and there's still these random accidents that can completely derail everything or make it impossible for someone to make the journey. And
it's a really good choice of word. But the fact that the entire system is also stacked against him does not help.
Right.
And people and all humans are just there to take advantage of other humans, and that is not okay.
And yet there's others who would help them, like the ones that people who run the shelters and work the shelters, like
Right.
solo dogs.
But
So,
our government should
oh,
actually make something available to this situation, a clean way for these things to happen. That way we don't have people running up and diving and missing train and getting cut up under train tracks. Like, I'm pretty sure the cleanup is not fun. So how about we do put the money in some other way of making this safer? I don't know.
mm.
How about, I don't know, I guess there's a lot. There's a lot because we can't really do much about the gang situation in Guatemala without causing more of a ruckus. There's a lot of immigrants coming for better life, and I don't know. We're not treating them anywhere near as well as we should.
It was definitely a difficult read.
Yeah.
But I guess there's like a lot to think about. I actually went on the author's Instagram, and one of her like last posts, I think she was talking about the detention camp here, and I don't know. We all need to be screaming that it's not okay, like just resisting in all the ways that we can, because it's not just a story. It's real, and it's happening, and people are being hurt, and people are losing family, and I don't know. I wonder how differently any of us would have felt had we read this in 2020 versus like now. I don't know. Not that all the same things weren't still happening, because they were, but I think just the sense of awareness is different in this moment, I guess.
Well, it's more on the front pages, I would say. Not say that it wasn't back then, but new immigration. Well, even with the radon in one of the southern states, the South Korean plant, the Hyundai plant.
Yeah, that just happened recently. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm finding myself having to really examine headlines too, right? Because I think it's easy to picture different things. I did not read the article, so it sounds like you may have. What was, because it said they were detained. What did that mean? Were they detained within the plant? Were they removed from the plant and detained somewhere else? Yeah, like
I think South Korea is getting involved. I think it was I was listening to the BBC podcast last night. It's like, oh yeah, turns out that you'd be okay if you built factories here and made products in America. Again, that does that, and now there's a rate on it. It's like, what we did what you've asked us to, and now that is this. So.
Your final thoughts? I gotta go get a dog before I go get a work.
Oh, right. Final thoughts. I give this 5 stars. I would read more from this author. I can imagine this was really challenging for her to write. I feel like the characters were pretty fleshed out and all kind of had their own personalities and different things going on, and was a glimpse into some of the experiences of those living in Guatemala, and also the challenge of trying to come to another country. And I don't know, it just feels like a book that probably everyone should read. It's like, I think it's one of those stories. One of those stories that's kind of not a story, kind of it's like a lived experience for many people. So those are my final thoughts.
I'll agree. I'll give it a 5 stars just because I think it needs to be seen. It needs to be understood. There's a few lessons of empathy in here, and there's a lot of people out there that need that.
I think for me it would be like, okay, I think I may be slightly less ignorant than I was before about, because you always hear about, people are making the move from Guatemala to the United States, but you do no idea what that entails.
That looks like, yeah.
Yeah, and what that means. So yeah, it's helpful. I think I would give it like a 4.25.
So that was our August book, actually. And for September, I want to make sure I get the author's name right. Okay, so for September, we are reading Tender is the Flesh, which I think is like a dystopian horror novel. And it's by Agustina Basterica. And it's not too long, and I know that you guys don't like knowing everything about the synopsis, so whatever. But it's
I know a little bit because somebody asked me about it, and I had to look it up. So
I mean, I have an idea, but I think we're all right.
I think, based on all of the commentary that I've heard from anyone who has read it, it is a book that stays well with you for a really long time. And I did kind of read the first few chapters, and I can tell you that is very accurate. It's pretty intense. So
okay.
I feel like it's going to be a pretty interesting discussion. But that is what we will be reading in September, Tender is the Flesh. So if you'd like to join us for that, we'll probably be doing our discussion early October. But thank you for joining us. I hope you do pick up We Are Not From Here by Jenny Torres Sanchez. And if you have read it and you have any comments, go ahead and leave them below this video. And if not, we'll hope to see you next time. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.